if you're not feeling like you're thriving, if you're not feeling like you're abundant, if you're not feeling joyful, if you're not feeling playful, if you're not feeling creative, if you're not feeling explorative, adventurous, excited, you're not in alignment with your true nature. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Christina and I am back for another intuitive reading for the collective. We are doing the Earth Magic cards. I'm calling it an Earth Magic study where we pick one card a week as I'm learning this deck. I have not seen all the cards in this deck yet. So that is what these readings are revealing week by week. So, also, Andrew, my husband, pushed me to do vertical formatting today, so I'm testing it out. He says YouTube's moving to vertical formatting. I don't know why I'm saying it like that. Formatting. If you don't like it, let me know. If you do like it, let me know. I always kind of had an aversion to vertical formatting on YouTube because, I don't know, I don't like the way it looks, but we're just going to test it out and see how it goes. So, let's pick a card for this week. And for myself, I'm going to say this before we start. Every week that I do a reading, I always tell myself, or more recently, to slow down in these readings. Like actually give myself a moment to look and see, because I've always been in the habit of just like speaking, saying, just like getting it out and just kind of seeing what's here and just moving that way. But it sometimes feels very fast and feels very like, you know, I can take a moment and stop and actually look. So I'm going to practice that this time. You guys don't see it anyway because I edit these, you know, gaps of time where I'm not saying anything. So you're not going to see it anyway. But for myself, just saying, slow down, take your time, look at the points more specifically. Okay. Oh, it does. I'll say that the card looks nice on this vertical formatting. The wolf. Instinct. Yeah. So good. Okay, so what this card brings up is, first, we are all animals. And like the animals, we have an instinct. We have an animalistic instinct. And what I'm getting to know about it is it's this connection and relationship and communication that I have with my physical body, where I am in and as my physical body, and I can actually feel my body in moments, what I'm doing, who I'm with, where I'm going, what I'm thinking about. It's like you can feel in your body how something feels, what something feels like. And I've been moving into the last year this point of starting to trust my physical body as my physical feelings. When I'm making decisions, when I'm directing myself, how I decide to do certain things, what I do with my day, practicing to feel into it. Which means, like, how does it feel in my body to do this? How does it feel in my body to do that? How does it feel in my body to eat, you know, if I want to eat this? Or if I look at these different things, how does it feel in my body? One of the ways that I experienced this was, and I did a video about this, I'll link it here, where I was looking at a decision about going back to work as a paralegal or doing this other thing with this other person that was kind of like my own business, and initially feeling really excited about it, but then like processing it, and it was like in my body when I looked at that point, it felt very dense and very heavy and very like blocked. Whereas when I looked at going back to being a paralegal, working as a paralegal, it felt very clear and airy and like flowy, and just like there was no resistance or like nothing heavy about it. And so to me, that was like a clear point of my body being like, this is the point, because it's like there's so much more clarity around that. This is much more dense. And I didn't like the way it felt inside my body. And so I was like, okay, there's my decision. So it's kind of like that. It's like getting back in tune with our physical bodies as our physical instincts, as those physical feelings. Learning how to start making decisions in our day-to-day living, our day-to-day lives, where we're not relying so much on the intellectual thinking, rational mind that says, I should do this, I need to do, I mean, need is a separate thing, but like, I should do this, I'm expected to do this is the right thing to do, this is what I'm supposed to do, like all those things that are like the in the framework of like doing something based on an ideal or moral rather than this is what I want to do, sounds fun to me, this is what I'm excited to do, you know, like learning how to live from and as your passion, like learning how to, you know, first acknowledge the fact that we're alive and life is meant to be fun and joyful and playful and exciting and adventurous and like thrilling. Like life is not supposed to be a boring, monotonous day in and day out cycle of the same thing. It's supposed to be fun and exciting and, you know, like, I mean, ultimately it's whatever you want it to be. For me, that's what I see is like life is meant to be fun. Life is meant to be joyful. Life is meant to be explored and experienced fully in all ways and any ways that you deem good for you. And so it's that point of like feeling into like what sounds good to me, what what feels good to me, what sounds good to me, what like, oh yeah, it gets me excited, what is something I get excited about and I get, you know, passionate about, and like what is it that just like gives me that energy of like, oh yeah, okay, now I'm here, now I'm alive, now I'm ready to go. Like that is something to tune into, and your body can assist with that. So that's what I see for the instinct point, is like learning how to align and listen and tune back into our instincts, our animalistic instincts. And this is also linked to the point of like how, you know, I talk a lot about this oneness point, how, you know, life on earth and I mean existence as a whole, we're all just one thing expressing itself. We're all just one thing. And so we're all made up of the same thing and we all exist as the same thing. We're just expressing a little bit differently. And so there's this illusion of separation, but we're actually just one thing expressing itself. And so it's that point of like the instinct is also our connection to each other, to our interconnection, to the fact that we're actually just one thing. We're like one body, you know, we're one expression, but like a multitude of expressions within the one expression. I just think of like a cell when it starts to split, like a single cell, and then it starts to split and divide itself. It's like there's all these things happening inside of just this one circular thing. And so that is also the instinct point, that connection to our body, the connection to our feeling is also connecting into that network of the interconnection, the intercommunication that we have with each other, because it is all feeling based, because it's all at its very core vibrational base. It's all, you know, resonance, harmonics, it's all sound, you know, so it's like, that's the feeling. It's like a vibratory resonance that you're experiencing physically. And so it's just like, yeah, just we have such an amazing connection with each other, and ability to communicate with each other that goes beyond language, that is very much physically feeling based. And so that to me is what this card brings up, is how can we tap back into that instinct of living in such a way where we are guiding ourselves according to our instincts, which is, you know, what do we see in nature with animals that exist instinctually? Is we see harmony. We see this like movement of like cooperation and synchronicity and just like everything kind of just works. And so I see that for humanity as such an amazing potential of, if more and more of us start to exist within that point of instinct and living in and as our body and allowing our body to guide us and our instincts to guide us as our feelings, we can start getting in alignment with this true oneness point that we all exist within. Because I believe that, you know, as this one thing, there is this perfect harmony that can exist. You know, currently in the current world, we see a lot of discord and a lot of, you know, disconnection and a lot of friction and fighting. And from my perspective, it's because we're out of alignment with who we really are. And And so the more and more people that get into alignment with that instinct, which is that true nature of ourselves and each other, we're all just getting in line with that harmonics, that perfection of that harmony that exists as the oneness and the equality of all of us, of life. And so I feel like there's just a really cool potential there for us to open up and learn more about how to get in tune with our instincts, how to get in tune with ourselves and so each other. So yeah, that's what I see here for the instinct. Call of the wild. It's the call of the wild. When people say, I feel called to do this, or I feel compelled to do this, or I'm drawn to do this, these are instincts. These are instinctual messages or guidance, or like even us seeing on some dimension that we're maybe not aware of. We're picking up on something in the environment, within other people, within ourselves, that is suggesting a direction for us. And I believe that life, as all as one is equal, has this point of perfection, that there is a best for all, best case scenario, best expression for all. Like each person has their utmost potential, and together we have an utmost potential. And yeah, it's just this point of like, if we just start learning how to live that individually, then together we can start resonating more together, and seeing more of that like manifestation of our true resonance coming through. So I don't know, it feels a bit airy-fairy still. I have to kind of ground this. The nice thing about these cards and these readings is it's very much for me too, points that are opening up. And the week following the reading is usually I'm integrating all this information. So I hope you guys are doing the same way. But in terms of like a practical application, what I can suggest is just, to me, instinct is also, when I look at life, when I look at nature, I see thriving, I see abundance, I see harmony, and I see joy, and I see play, and I see, beauty, and I see creativity and expression and all these beautiful things. And I'm like, okay, well, if that's the nature I see, then that's my nature, and that's the nature of life. It thrives, it's abundant, it's so abundant, and it gives to each other, and it exists just so harmoniously. Like every part works for another part. It's just like so amazing, the design. And so it's like, okay, then my experience, if it's not reflecting that nature, then I know I'm not in alignment. So that's the first point of reference for you. If you're not feeling like you're thriving, if you're not feeling like you're abundant, if you're not feeling joyful, if you're not feeling playful, and kids are another example or reference point for this. If you're not feeling creative, if you're not feeling explorative, adventurous, excited, you're not in alignment with your true nature, what nature shows us and what children show us. And so it's using that as a cross-reference for yourself. So if you're not feeling that way, then there are things you can do to support yourself, to let go of those feelings, to get back into alignment with yourself, which is like free and clear and able to express and create and to explore and to communicate. And, there's nothing weighing you down. If you feel heavy, you're not in alignment with your true nature, our true nature as life. And so it's to remove that heaviness and get back into the point of play and joy and creating and expressing and doing whatever you can that gets you into that state as a point of practicing. So one thing you can do is what activity, what action, what thing can you do that makes you feel that way? Maybe it's watching comedy, stand-up comedy on Netflix. Maybe it's going for a walk. Maybe it's playing with a dog. Maybe it's playing with a kid. Maybe it's painting. Maybe it's drawing. Maybe it's making a sale. Like maybe it's working. Like, maybe it's traveling, like whatever it is, do something that makes you feel joyful, that puts you in a state of a carefree, fun, excited, like uplifted experience, because that is your natural nature. That's who you really are. And so, yeah, just doing those things, practicing, putting yourself in that state as much as you can as a point of practicing and integrating more and more of that as a habit, Like, this is who I am actually. This is who I am actually. You know, it's like we've created a world that, you know, doesn't really serve us, that, you know, is kind of mundane and boring and, you know, can be considered a wasteland and of The Walking Dead, you know, but like there are these pockets of people living really extraordinary lives, you know, and living their passions and living their purpose. And so, you know, tuning into those people and seeing what they're doing and how they communicate and what they're saying, and just apply that within your own life. You know, like we have such a great opportunity to empower ourselves and to serve ourselves ultimately. So yeah, this card to me is just like a realignment point, just kind of getting back on track with our true nature, the call of the wild, you know, heeding the call, you know, heeding the call. Life is calling, you know, we're all one thing, we're all expressing in one thing, and there exists a perfect harmony within all of us. And we can all live and express and create and exist together, and there needs to be no conflict and there needs to be no friction, and even if there is, it doesn't have to be a bad thing. It doesn't have to be something that causes death or bloodshed or starvation or anything like that. We can exist and in our utmost potential. So let's do a book definition and see what it says. It's also about trusting yourself. Trusting yourself. I mean, what is instincts? It's that point of like, you know what? I'm going to hear myself. I'm going to listen to myself. I'm going to trust the way that I feel. I'm going to trust the way I want to do something. I'm going to trust myself in what I feel is best for me. And I'm not going to rely so heavily on external things, knowing that I am actually my best guide. I am actually my best source of information, because all the answers exist within me, right? My body is my temple. This is where the kingdom of heaven resides. You know, everything exists within you. And so you have access to all information, all knowledge, all wisdom, all support, everything you're seeking, everything that is going to be what opens you up to your utmost potential exists inside of you. So it is so important that we connect with ourselves. And it's about trust. We need to be able to trust ourselves internally. You know, it's about mastering our internal reality to master our external reality. That's something I've been looking at this last week, like becoming a master of my inside, a master of my internal reality, mastering my thoughts and my words and my deeds to ensure that I am always in alignment with who I really am and how I understand that to be. And I'm being self-honest with myself as what is best for me. So that's also what I see. The instinct and the wolf card is showing that point of you have to trust yourself. And we've always existed for something outside of ourselves. We've always existed in separation of ourselves. We've never really known who we are fully, wholly, completely. So it's a very exciting time, actually, because that's the potential we have here. That's the opportunity we have here, is to come into full realization and actualization of who we are as all as one is equal, as life in harmony and perfection, physically manifested here. That's the opportunity we have before us. And it starts with getting into alignment with ourselves as our body, our instincts, learning how to trust. I mean, that's what an instinct is, right? It's like, this is what my body's communicating. This is what me as life is communicating. Am I trusting myself? Am I listening to myself? Am I following myself? Am I trusting in my own guidance, you know? Okay, instinct. Some of the strongest characteristics of our brother and sister wolves are loyalty, companionship, playfulness, and affection. They are exceptional parents and take great care of their young. We see similarities to wolves in domesticated dogs, particularly certain breeds, yet these tamed and distant relatives have long ago transferred their loyalty and pack behavior to humans. Yet wolves are still carnivorous, wild animals surviving by seeking out whatever food is available that meets their dietary needs. This is instinctually driven and is the most basic and natural drive that all living things possess. Over the centuries, the encroachment of civilization into the wolves' natural territories and the periodic scarcity of game have prompted these things to hunt wherever they could, which at times include a rancher's or farmer's cattle or sheep. This in turn has triggered a desire for revenge by these people so that they hunt and kill wolves, which has decimated their ranks. It's it's the so-called civilized world clashing with the world of the wild and the instinctual. You have lost touch with your instinctual sensitivities. It is the result of cultural and or religious prescriptions or programming dictating that anything wild and instinctual is threatening and therefore has to be controlled or eliminated. Now is the time to overcome this limited mindset and tune into these instinctual cues. Let the spirit of the wolf be your teacher, and call upon this benevolent being for help identifying what those specific cues are saying. Shed some of your inhibitions, which the only guideline being to do no harm. Experiment by getting out of the straitjacket of familiar societal norms and listening to those sensations in your gut that are trying to give you a message. It may be a warning or an urging to take action of some sort. Take some deep breaths and simply notice what your bodily sensations are telling you. Your mind will be the receiver of that information, and your body and mind can learn to work more closely with each other once again. My final point here is to say, in tuning back in and realigning with ourselves as that instinctual aspect of ourselves, where we're trusting ourselves and our senses on all levels, in all dimensions, in all ways, is if you're receiving some information that makes you feel somehow diminished or devalued or like brings you down in some way, you can't trust that, or don't trust that, because that's not a true representation of you or life or what's actually here. It is that point that uplifts you and wakes you up and makes you alert and feels good to you and is like, it's just like learning to trust what feels right to you. What is the best choice for you? And knowing that there is actually no right or wrong, but it's all about you learning to trust yourself and express yourself as life. This is you as life, getting to know you as life. That's the gift we've been given, is to know ourselves as life, as this unique expression. That's all we're here for. And it's not so serious. And so, enjoy, get back in line with yourself, start giving yourself the gift of life, of living what it is you want to really live, how you want to live, how you want to experience yourself. Like, you hold all the keys. You're the one who decides. And it's all based on your beliefs and how you move yourself and how you, make your decisions. So be easy with yourself and gentle, and give yourself that gift of living in a way that makes you feel the best and the most joyful. And yeah, so I would love to hear from you if you have any perspectives to share, or if anything resonated. I'd love to hear that. Thanks for walking with and being here, and I'll see you next week.